Expert Jeff Coruccini here, talk to us about fantasy football. It's not too late, right? The playoffs next week.
That's right,
you
Brian.
You can still pull one out.
That's right. This is week 13 to get you into the playoffs, and we've got some tips for those folks that once they get in the playoffs, that can help them set their lineup.
All right. Tell me what you got.
Well, we're going to start off with, the one thing that's real important is you want to give strong consideration to players that are on a team that are playing for a playoff spot or home field advantage, or that is real important because they've still got something to play for. Right. So that's one of the most important things when you're looking at your roster. Give strong consideration to those players. Another tip, and you're thinking about this, you got teams like the Indianapolis Colts. I can't forget it.
Right there with you.
So you got Peyton Manning, you got folks like that. Brett Favre, they lost this week against the Dallas Cowboys, so he's another player too. But you start looking at those teams that still have something to play for.
They've got to step it up.
They're trying to qualify, so you know that their starters are going to play. And right now, Indianapolis has got a big game this week against the Jaguars. So those are the kind of teams. Same thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars themselves. And then you go to teams that another guideline, shall we say, is be wary of those teams that have already qualified for the playoffs. Look at the New England Patriots, for example, and Tom Brady, or the Dallas Cowboys. As weeks 15 and 16 come in there, they may rest their starters.
Sure.
Those guys won't play. They'll say, hey, you know what? We've made it this far. We know we've got home field advantage. We don't want to risk those guys getting injured. So that's another tip. Make sure that you watch those players closely. Tony Romo, for example, by week 15, he may have it wrapped up and they don't want to risk it.
Well, and he's dating Jessica Simpson, so he's got to take it easy on the side.
Yeah, that's true.
And what about the Pats, though? They maybe want to go for the perfect season.
Exactly. But at the same point in time, they want to win a Super Bowl, and they know how important that is. And then you've got the third and final tip is there's an old saying, the dance with the girl that brought you.
Right.
Same thing in fantasy football. Players like, for example, Drew Brees. When you look at your roster, those players that have been playing well for you, once you get into the playoffs, don't overthink things. A lot of times people will look at matchups. You want to do that, but pay attention to those players like Drew Brees. You also want to pay attention to guys like Larry Fitzgerald, Kurt Warner on our Arizona Cardinals. So those are some tips that may help you when you're looking at your lineup.
Good point. And we always talk about the Cardinals.
Absolutely. This week here, we're looking at Kurt Warner. He had a tough go against the Niners last week, but what he has done historically is when he's played a bad game at home, he's turned around. And if he wouldn't have fumbled that ball in the end zone last week, he would have had a great week. So we think against the Cleveland Browns, that's going to be a lights-out game. There's going to be a lot of points on the board. We think Warner's going to have a good game.
And he's, of course, a character guy, so you think he'd bounce back.
I hope so.
Set that straight. All right. So you're going to take a few weeks off?
Yeah, we're going to take a couple. Yeah, we're going to take a couple weeks off because the playoffs are in. Going to come back on December 30th and bring Russ Bliss, who is one of my partners and well-known here in the Valley for his fantasy football advice, and we're going to bring him and we're going to talk about some off-season tips at that time.
Okay.
But we also still have our special offer, our promotion for any of the viewers. It's an exclusive special offer for them. Between now, if they send me an email, jeff@fantasyfootballstarters.com, we'll give them free access to all of our tools, all of our content, all of our premium products between now and the Super Bowl.
Wow, we're already starting to think about next season.
Absolutely.
If you're down at the bottom of your fantasy football league, there's always next year.
That's right, Brian.
All right, Jeff, thanks for coming in. As always, we appreciate it. We'll see you in a few weeks.
You got it.
Okay.